All right, for our greens, we have 3 colors. We have kind of a foresty green, this kind of light minty green, and kind of a limey muted green. I'm going to do my leaves 50-50 split like this, and then I'm going to do the rest of the background in this baby. So I'm going to start with just the leaf shapes. I am just going to cut rectangle pieces and kind of fill them in.
I've given you 2 bars of each of these colors so that you can kind of play around with this however you want. You have enough of each that if you want to do the leaves all one color and the background all one color and not use one of the greens, you can do that. Or if you want to mix them up and do whatever you want, you can do that too. Personally, I'm going to start by making some bar shapes. I want the leaves to be filled in with little bars similar to that other leaf example that I showed you. But you, again, could do a completely different shape. You could make your leaves out of squares. You could make your leaves out of pieces of glass that literally fit the exposed leaf shape. So they could be kind of long, skinny pieces that you taper off at the end. Do whatever your little heart desires. You feel me? These are my bars.
Let's just do this. Let's just do this. All right. Keep all our shards in one place. We'll just give ourselves some bars. Bars to make some bars. These are like, some of these are pretty curvy. Those might be cool. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this guy. So start with some bars. Jesus Christ. About 1 inch. Snap some angled. Some of those are fucking meaty, dude. For the background pieces, I don't have any pattern in mind. I want it to just kind of be a little chaotic. So for that, I'm just going to pop some weird stuff off the edge. This I'm just going for some kind of like bigger shapes to start with. Just wherever my little nippers carry me. We'll start with that, and then I'm also gonna just give myself a few smaller strip pieces. I can kind of cut those down to whatever we need. Excuse me now. Pardon me. Excuse me. Bring this little bitch back over here. Alright. Like I said, I'm done using that glue on my regular shit. Let's start with this. I expect a lot of them will be long like this, and I'll need to cut them down.
This is a fun little game I call make a plan and then forget it. I would figure out where I wanted a piece of glass to go, and then in the process of going and dabbing it on the glue and then coming back to my thing, I would completely forget where I had planned for it to go, and then I would just find a new home for it. And you know what? The pieces all still got glued down just fine.
This line here in the middle of the leaves, I'm leaving that open. I'm going to leave a gap there so that I can have a nice solid stem line out of grout. You feel me?
So every time I glue down a piece, I'll give it a good little push, like a button. Boop, boop, boop. And then that just helps me feel very confident that it's stuck on there nice. It's got the right amount of glue and that it's going to sit tight and that it's got a good little seal around the edges so no grout's going to get up underneath it. That gives me peace of mind. That makes me happy. The triple boop, I call it.
That's the ticket, baby. Get a bit of a glue situation. A beauty.
Now I'm showing you these kind of in real time here for a second so that you can understand that this is just going to be a slow process. It's going to take some time. So buckle up, put a good movie on in the background, and just know it's going to take you a little while.
I need just like the tiniest little triangle. Should go right here in the end.
And you can be as meticulous or unmeticulous about this as you want. I'm going a little overboard here with focusing on a tiny itty bitty baby shard just to get the exact right shape that I want, but you don't have to do that, you know.
Plot twist, I ended up going to bed. So it's the next day. I'm going to do some more work. But I've got Lord of the Rings on, so I'm just going to put it on time lapse and let you guys watch that and then explain what I'm doing over the top of it.
All right, now we're going to condense a couple days worth of work into a couple of minutes. It's going to be fun. Most of this time is spent with me just cutting little tiny triangles off of these bars so that both the inside line and the outside line match the shape that I'm going for. What I would do is find a little piece that had one edge that was already the right angle, and then I would just kind of cut the other side so that it matched. And then when I got to the end, when I started running out of stuff, I'd be nipping both sides of the bar to get them to fit in exactly where I needed them to go. And a lot of these pieces ended up being a lot shorter and a lot smaller than I originally expected, which truthfully seems to be the moral of the story this go round. But you know, sometimes that's just me. I tend to overestimate things anyway. So I am filling in all the leaf shapes first. I've got my little template here that I colored in so that I could plan out, since I wanted to do them two-toned, I wanted to plan out the composition so that it would have a nice balance. And I colored them in ahead of time. I made a little photocopy of my template, and I'll put an extra copy of the template downloadable on Discord so that you can do that as well if you'd like to color in a template plan for yourself. Beyond that, we just keep on gluing and tacking and cutting and gluing and tacking and cutting and gluing and tacking and cutting and gluing and tacking and cutting. And then I started filling in on the outside.
This is where we're at. I was watering the garden, so I couldn't record. But I just basically have been filling in with more big pieces, a few little pieces. And we're kind of getting to the point where we're going to start filling in with a bunch of tiny little scrap stuff.
And filling with a bunch of tiny little scrap stuff, we gonna do it. I find that this part is actually really, it's very tedious because it's a lot of trying to find the exact right shape and cut the exact right shape to fit the hole and deciding which parts have enough space that you want to fill it in with a tiny piece of glass and what parts don't have enough room for you to even put the tiniest thing, even though it kind of feels like it's too much space and it bothers you, at least me. And learning to let go of those things and embrace the fact that the kind of irregularity of the grout lines is also a part of the design. It's also a part of this medium. So just kind of embrace that with yourself, you know, learn to love the parts of you that you don't love. You know, sing Kumbaya with those parts of you and your work. And that's a lesson that I have to continually tell myself all the time. And like I said, this part can just kind of take a long time. It's tough too, because it's like the end of the project. But, you know, it is fun once you get down to the final little itty bitty bit, and it's just the last few pieces, and you get like that dopamine you get when you put the last piece in a regular jigsaw puzzle, but it's like even better because they're not even puzzle shaped. They're just random shapes, and you made that shit into a puzzle. Anyway, next up, we're going to do some grouting. So check out that video next.